Cops going and shooting that disabled woman and going, yeah, we got a lot of pride. One of our cops murdered somebody. Oh, it's not murder, right? Because she walked into a school and was shooting people. Well, apparently she was trained by Anakin Skywalker. You're never supposed to use the youngling massacre moves. Those are theory only. And that's not funny, is it? No, it's not. So this Andrea Hall, is that correct? Audrey Hall, something Hall. Who is she? You know, you guys push people to the point that they have no recourse. They have, and you think it's fair for me to have to deal with that? Meanwhile, I'm stuck in Tillamook, Oregon, Nebraska, and they're here in Tillamook. And a lot of them. Now I'm being sent to crooked cops to turn in crooked cops. I have to turn in bad cops to themselves. How horrible is this? Meanwhile, when I try to give an oral report, I'm talked over, threatened, harassed, or intimidated. I literally have to break the law to try to get a cop to do his job. I gotta tell you, what I should have been doing the whole time, I chose not to. There has not been hardly a day in the last 7 years that I have not had complete and full access to firearms. It's not that I'm incapable of getting a hold of them. It's that I'm not interested in killing anybody. I hunt with a bow and I hunt rabbits. Good dinner. Not much to them. Pretty quick to cook. But this is the reality of the situation for us. We got to deal with bad cops, and then we have to turn them into their friends and coworkers. Meanwhile, we're dealing with a system where these guys just say something and it must be true. If a police officer tells a hospital that you're schizophrenic, it must be true, correct? Well, we've only got one person who is qualified to make that kind of a decision, who interacted with me long enough to make any such decision. That was Marcia Estrada. Now, being that she's the only person who saw me for the length of time required to be able to diagnose me as schizophrenic, why is it that officers were allowed to prevent me from having court dates? Well, they told hospitals I was schizophrenic. Well, that works pretty good. These guys knew that they didn't have to do their jobs and that I didn't have the means to do their jobs for them. You help these predators to get away with it. There's a lot of stuff that we have to take the cops' word for. That they're going to charge us a lot of money and a lot of time to try to get those things. They prey on people like me who literally don't have enough money to feed themselves, let alone jump through all those hoops. Thank goodness for the food stamps. How long did that take to come through? Look at the safety issues that I have to endure every day. Safety issues created by this monetary issue. Refusing to give me their cards, that's against the rules. It's also against the law. That's what I get for paying attention. Poor me. You notice I slicked back my hair before they showed up so I could pretty myself up for y'all so you would feel better. The reality is I live in a fucked up situation. I guess I'm gonna have to call up the police chief and have him show up. Now I've got the evidence that proves that the police lied in court and that they assisted my predators. The problem is finding a place to go through it all and somebody that I can turn it into that's actually going to look at it. On the bright side, at least I'm not over with them 4 retired cops over there that hang out at Fred Meyer's. Those guys are about useless as tits on a boar. Listening to those guys and their rhetoric, their hatred towards the homeless and towards black people. Like, really? These were cops? No wonder they lived long enough to retire. See, here's the thing about bad cops. There's no such thing as a good cop. But bad cops get other cops killed. Bad cops doing the things that they did to me. Doing the things they did to other people who were trying to help me. Because cops didn't do their jobs. A situation where I wouldn't be allowed to defend myself. Now we get to listen to a bunch of old white guys complain about how the youth are lazy. Well, the youth have to work 3 times as much to make the same amount. No, it's not the same amount. In order to keep a roof over your head. Meanwhile, who's going to pay you starting wages? Being forced to hire people that won't work. The year before retirement kicks them out. So we don't need you no more. You're too old and too much of a relic. What you've got to contribute no longer matters. Is that therapist going to do their job as a mandated reporter when I am harmed? The answer is no. They're all going to play stupid. The reason that we're saying measure help for homeless people here, it is victimization. They get pissed off and irate that they even have to show up. Now, there's a lot of people in this town that are racist. Ain't no doubt about that. We even got people at the churches recorded talking about how heavy the KKK presence is here. We've got other homeless people of various national origins as well as different skin colors talking about the KKK and the police here. And about police officers bragging about being part of the KKK.
Hauled it around, and it's down here in Astoria now, but it's so big that, and he has it almost full of guns and everything. Now, when you say brother-in-law, which one are you talking about? My sister's brother, husband. Oh, his sister's cousin. Yeah, he's in the gun. He had a federal license. I bought a couple from him. It's really, you can see the markup, what they do. I mean, I got it dirt cheap. I got a stainless steel 270. I only paid like $300 for it. And it was like, back then it was like $900.
One of the most disgusting things through all of this
What retail price was?
is how many people, between coming forward or threatening to kill people, chose to threaten to kill people instead, over and over and over again. This needed to stop.
That's what he's thinking about doing too, because he's getting a hassle by powder and everything. Yeah, you got a dealer's license.
When officers are allowed to abuse somebody until that person has a meltdown. Those cops did so intentionally.
If he's lucky to, if they
When officers talk over the victim to sell their own narrative, they know exactly what they're doing, and they know that they're breaking the law in doing so. Oh, nice! Another one of the missing persons was found. Woo-hoo. That's something to be happy about. This stuff is not okay. These services, they all work together and they will protect each other until somebody gets off their backside and does something about it. Now I got a question. Between me blowing up this entire town and me going to the cops to try to get help, which would you prefer I did? Between me going around and shooting all of these officers and me going to the police to try to get help, which would you prefer? Obviously, I prefer not to shoot people. But that seems to be so many of y'all's idea. Oh, you should have just shot him. You should have just shot him. Well, what good would that do? That turns a monster into a martyr. Y'all who want to be pissed off at me saying that I should have just killed Ted Bollinger. I should have just shot him. I should have just cut his head off. I should have this and I should have that. The system doesn't work. You should have just killed him. This is what I get pounded at me from people who want to help. Really, is that help? Trying to entice somebody to go shoot somebody else? Is that help? Is that useful? No, that's just America. The United States is full of gun-toting, meat-eating people, and that I'm fine with. What I'm not fine with is the cowardice of those who want to push the Second Amendment. Are they fighting for the First Amendment? No. They don't care about the First Amendment. They just care about having their guns. You know what? I fight for your rights to own guns. Because the Second Amendment is supposed to protect the First Amendment. The Second Amendment exists so that you can shoot tyrants like Scott DaCosta. The Second Amendment exists so that you can shoot tyrants like Leslie Snell. The Second Amendment exists so that you can shoot tyrants. That is literally the reason that it exists. All right? That's it. That's the only purpose to the Second Amendment. So that you can shoot tyrants. If they're not representing you and they're getting your people killed, you have the right as an American to blow their head clean off. So why is it that myself as an American am not willing to go blow people's heads clean off? Because I still believe in the First Amendment. I just don't believe in the cowardice of the American people, because that's all the American people have shown me is cowardice. You'll let them take away the First Amendment rights, won't you? But then you'll say, oh, well, they'll have to pry my gun from my cold, dead hands. They probably will. If that's how far you're willing to go to fight for the Second Amendment, imagine if you were far less of a coward and actually used that to fight for the First Amendment, the one that you want to take away from everybody who doesn't believe the way you do. You don't want to be forced to have Muslims on your TV, but you want to force your Jesus, your Rambo Jesus, into the schools. You don't want to be forced to believe something else, but you want other children to be forced to believe what you do. That's indoctrination. That's not freedom. That's not liberty. It sure isn't democracy. When it comes down to it, tyrants like Leslie Snell, Scott DaCosta, Waylon Lolatai, they're alive because I chose to try to turn them in instead of kill them like I should have according to you guys. I chose not to kill them. You know, I built an illegal AR-15 a few years ago, folding buttstock, 20-inch barrel. Oh yeah, and I got the wild barrel on it, the bull barrel, thick. Fires 223 or 5.56. How many of you even know the difference? There's a difference in the neck. There's also a difference in the powder and the grain.
Oh yeah, she does.
No, I didn't want to make that gun, and I wasn't interested in making that gun. However, I'm capable.
Dutch brothers is too.
I had a guy who was my next door neighbor in Colorado when I lived at Radcliffe Place, and I assisted him in making 2 firearms. Sten Mark IIs. That's a World War II submachine gun. designed and built by the British. It's not my incapability of doing things like that. It's my unwillingness. Yes, I know how. That doesn't mean I'm gonna. Yes, I know how to make sugar rockets. Yes, I know how to turn those sugar rockets into explosives. Yes, I know how potent rust can be in a mix like that. Explosives ordnance. That's what they wanted to put me in as. Explosives ordnance. Yeah, I gotta tell you, when you're in the Navy and you're an explosives ordnance and they want to put you on a big boat, your job is to throw cherry bombs into the toilet to clear a clog. I mean, basically, most of the time, that's what you're doing, is you're cleaning toilets, clearing toilets. My apologies. Now here, obviously, I've got a YouTube channel, and I talk about these things openly and freely, and still nobody does anything about it. You want to pretend I just made this stuff up? No, I certainly didn't. This goes to show that in the United States, your rights aren't based on anything other than popularity. Nothing other than bias. By illegally preventing me from turning in my predators repeatedly, both before and after Natalie's death, these officers have resulted, or these actions of these officers have resulted in a lot more deaths. Which one of you is going to do something about it? None of you. You're cowards. I keep listening to veterans tell me about how we owe them for their service. No. There are very few veterans whose service I owe them for. And all the veterans whose service I owe them for are on the streets. And that's the services that they provided.
That's good. Good exercise keeps my limbs.
World War II was different. No war since then has been worth fighting. Just a waste of American lives and a waste of foreign lives. A waste of currency and a waste of ordnance.
Okay, so what's my story?
There are 3 ways to fight a war. The first one, this is the one that the United States likes the most, killing. The second way to fight a war. Now, mind you, the first way, the most popular way, is the only one of the 3 that is not necessary to fight a war. The second one is the hearts and minds of the people. That's where propaganda comes in. You try to convince them to believe what you want them to believe. If you can do that, you can actually take over an area without bloodshed. Just get everybody to think the way you do. The third way is by building infrastructure. Maybe it's churches, maybe it's mosques, maybe it's a 11-stage Roman grain mill that runs off of water. That was a cool study, actually.
So finally, the captain of the guard says, there's always 3 things. So captain of the guard says, you tell the interpreter, or you tell the king, that if he does not tell us where the gold is, we will tie a rope around his neck, throw it over a branch in the tree, and we will hang him. And so the interpreter says, he says he's going to tell us where the gold is, or he's going to hang you. And the king says, I die before I tell you where the gold is. So, man, next thing you know, rope around his neck, over the branch goes.
Oh, Nora Jones.
And he's struggling. And finally goes, the gold is in the cave, behind the waterfall. The captain of the guard turns to the interpreter and says, well, what did he say? The interpreter says, he will die before he shows you where the gold is. Enough of this. You can only take so much of me anymore. No, we're glad. Thank you guys. See you later.
All right, we got another missing person. Oakley May Snow, age 2, hair brown, eyes blue, height 2 foot 2 inches, weight 35 pounds. It says on Thursday, January 19th, 2023, Oakley May Snow left Cromwell, Oklahoma for Indianapolis, Indiana with her mother. On February 9th, 2023, her mother stated to the father that she dropped the child off anonymously at a hospital in Indiana. Oakley has not been found. Madison Maddie Marshall took both Oakley and her brother Colton to Indianapolis on February 10th, 2023. CPS located Colton, but not Oakley. The man they were traveling with, Rowan Waters, had an active felony warrant in Oklahoma and was taken into custody in Colorado. The mother was located in Harnett County, North Carolina, and arrested, but will not reveal the location of Oakley. She could be anywhere from Oklahoma, Colorado, Indiana, or surrounding areas. If you see Oakley or have any information regarding her whereabouts, please contact the Seminole County Sheriff's Office at 405-257-5445 or the IMPD Missing Persons Unit at 317-327-6160. All right, I do get a lot of these, and I do try to post them up. One of the things about the people in the United States going through this is that either we work together or we get nothing. All right, we got another missing juvenile from Virginia. There's a lot of these from Virginia, isn't there? This is Sean Alexander Heiner, age 16, hair brown, eyes blue, height 6'1", weight 145 pounds. Says the Bedford County Sheriff's Office is requesting the public's assistance in locating a 16-year-old juvenile, Sean Alexander Heiner, was last seen on March 20th, 2023 at his home in the Blue Ridge area of Bedford County, Virginia. If you have any information on Sean's whereabouts, contact INV Burnett. That would be Investigator Burnett at 540-586-4800, extension 4066, or Bedford County Dispatch at 540-586-7827.
That's right, it's 53 weeks of hill around here for all the spring breakers. He's watching it, some dads.
I'm disgusted by this country and everyone in it, but that doesn't stop me from coming forward and telling the truth.
No, they wanted the cheese back.
Alright,
No, thank you.
it's 8:50. I might go outside and fart publicly.
I don't think he's gonna make it today, John. This is probably all of it today.
I'm just trying my car starts when I get off work.
Why is that?
Because the ignition switch has a loose wire.
That's not good.
It's going to the shop today. So I'm praying that I could get it started. To keep it started until I get home. Go with the dash road, kept turning it when it starts. When it starts, the lady's like, "Can you jump?" I was like, "No." So right when she left it started.
Of course.
It's gonna pain the butt. Well, that's what happens if I do straight. It's a big thing.
Are you working full time here?
Kinda. Working 5 days a week.
40 hours a week?
Hello, I want to see if there's any money on my card, so I'm going to try to purchase something if that's okay.
Okay.
What's sushi cheap and good?
A sausage biscuit is $2.99.
I'll try the 2 breakfast burritos.
Hot or mild sauce?
Hot. Although you guys don't actually have hot, but
I
we'll
know.
have.
Alright, so $3.99 in total.
Woohoo, go Broncos. Yeah!
There's that word. Sean, I had a customer just call me And they were concerned because you're on YouTube and you're talking about blowing up Tillamook and killing people in Tillamook.
I was talking about not blowing up Tillamook.
Okay, well, because it got called here, we had to call the supervisor, which is Nick, and Nick said that you have two options. One, you can't bring a computer in here and broadcast from here because it's endangerment to the employees here.
It's endangerment to me not to. That's one of the things about having to do this in public. Is that this is the stuff that I have to deal with
Right.
everywhere. I literally can't talk
So
about
Nick
it.
said that we can't have you bring a computer in here anymore, or else we have to tell you that you can't come here no more.
Well, God bless America.
So I
See,
just
that's the
wanted
thing.
to,
I didn't do anything wrong, and I'm being punished for it.
right. So I'm
Instead
just letting you
of
know.
me doing something wrong, I'm being punished for doing nothing wrong. I'm being punished for telling the truth. I'm being punished because you've got a bunch of racist assholes who come in here every day. And they are recorded doing racist stuff. Now, as far as my safety goes, this is the reason I have to record it. It's because I get punished for not doing anything wrong, and it happens often.
Right.
So, I mean, as far as the situation with Nick goes, I'm fine with speaking to him about it. But much of the safety issue that I'm dealing with here comes down to the fact that I'm being treated like this.
Right.
You know, I have to turn in actual crimes against me, and obviously this is no help to me, no use to me, and I'm not trying to harm anybody. I'm literally being harmed and being cut off from any service because I'm trying to get help. Now, how okay is that? It's not like the entire time that I've been coming here, it's not like I come in here and scream and shout at everybody and tell them I'm going to kill them and blow up their house.
But I'm just letting you know because we got a phone call already and we had to.
And that's the problem is that I have made repeated complaints here about the way that people treat me here.
Right.
But the thing is, nobody does anything about it because I simply don't matter. I'm not a human being. When I'm abused, it's, oh, well, I'm sorry that happened to you. Oh, well, somebody's being a racist turd to you. You just have to take it. Oh, somebody wants to go out of their way to pretend you said something that you didn't. Well, Sean, now you're in trouble because nobody actually cares about you as a person. And that's frustrating to me because I'm trying to get help and I'm being blown off at every step of the way. I'm being victimized for trying to turn in predators. When I'm assaulted, I get victimized for trying to turn in the people that assaulted me. So as far as recording, I have to, because if I don't, this situation here, for example, I'm not threatening to blow anyone up. That's obviously a situation where the people who are over there are going out of their way to take it out of context. Now, since it is recorded, and since I am being victimized for it being taken out of context, that also needs to be addressed. I'm not a bad person. I'm not running around trying to blow up your building. I'm not running around trying to blow up Tillamook. I'm not running around trying to light the whole town on fire. What I'm trying to do is get actual help. I'm trying to turn it into the police. Now, to say that I would rather turn it into the police than blow something up, that's not against the law.
Right.
There's no felony there. And if somebody wants to go out of their way to be a Karen because they want to pretend to be paranoid, them playing victim is not my fault, and it's also not my decision. And this makes it a very uncomfortable position for me because no matter what, I have to deal with this. If somebody plays victim, I'm harmed, I have no recourse.
Right.
So that's one of the things about it being a safe place is that it's not. The other thing is, as far as recording, I can't turn off my recording device because of this situation. Because the situation is exactly like this. If it's not recorded, it's their word versus mine. They can pretend that I was threatening to blow up the building and threatening to rape people in the bathroom and, you know, all sorts of other craziness. Obviously, if it's recorded, then it shows that there's a very big difference. Now, if somebody wants me to go out of their way to pretend that I'm going to harm them or harm anybody in this building or that I'm threatening to blow anything up, that's just rude and inconsiderate. And I don't think it's okay for me to be harmed every time some Karen doesn't get what they want or every time somebody wants to pretend that I might hurt them because they're Nazis. The racist guys that come in here in the back corner, every day they come in here with that racist stuff. I record it every day, them being racist. And it's not because I want to record racism. It's because I have to record for my own safety because anybody can victimize me, call me mentally ill, and get away with it. I was victimized to the point that I literally have here sometimes, and sometimes the parking lot over there that I can utilize once in a great while. And that's not acceptable. I have to make my phone calls from inside of places like this because there's no place for me to go and sit where I can have some peace and quiet and make those phone calls. Like this morning with those officers. I didn't want to call them to here. I didn't want to draw that attention to myself. What I wanted to do is have the cops go up and do their job for once instead of intimidating me or running the other way. When I have an issue, like for example, when I was being harassed over at Fred Meyer, I took it to Fred Meyer people. I also took it to the cops. The lady who was doing that, her name was Molly. She got away with it because the cops didn't want to do their jobs. They didn't bother to go look at any of it. They didn't bother to take a report or a written report. And their behavior towards me shows that they're not interested in doing anything for a homeless person. So for me, Nick having a problem, yeah, I have no problem with not coming back to this place. But the other thing is, I do have to complain about the fact that I am stuck in this situation that I didn't ask for, that I have been reaching out for help, that I have been making calls, and that I'm not threatening to kill them. I'm not threatening to blow anything up. The entire time I've been in this town, I've had access to firearms. Now between going and getting those firearms and going and shooting people, or trying to turn it into the cops, obviously, I've been trying to turn it into the cops. That's not going to change. I don't want a gun. I don't own a gun. I'm not into harming anyone or hurting anyone.
Right.
So, you know, I understand the sentiment. I also have to understand that I am an American who is at risk. I am an at-risk adult. And the thing is, I don't have anyone, no friends or family to help me turn this in. That's why it's been ongoing for 6 years. When Natalie Collins got her brains blown out, that made it so that no matter what, anywhere I go, I'm going to be fine. It made it so that no matter where I go, I have to deal with cops treating me like this. Homeless people aren't people, they're cops. We're the number one person they're going to shoot in the country. I'm a male, so I account for 96% of the people they kill. And I'm homeless, so I account for 60% of the people they kill. I'm also disabled, so I account for 49 or 51% of the people they kill. So I mean, I really have to be afraid of the cops. The way that they blow me off and keep on changing the laws or talking over me to sell a false narrative, going out of their way to guarantee I don't get to tell them what's going on or turn in any of the crimes against me. It's very scary. And that's one thing about me being stuck in public. I'm afraid of the public because they do harm me so often.
Right.
It's not safe for me to be stuck
It's
in
not me,
public.
Sean. It's my supervisor. And so he's telling me you can't record inside here or else we have to tell you have to go. And he said if you won't respect what we say, then we have to come up and have them 86 seal.
So that's the thing. As far as my safety goes, I can't come up to recording devices, and I have no problem with reading it. But the fact is that if you call it to have me 86, you're calling the predators that I'm trying to turn in.
I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, that's the thing about Nazism in America. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It matters who the assholes are not who's right or wrong.
Right.
It matters who owns this, who owns this, who owns that. I'm absolutely not going to stop recording, so I'll just stop coming back here.
I'm
Also,
sorry,
since
Sean.
I'm not going to be here, I'm going to let you guys keep your sausages. I don't want them.
You paid for it, sir.
I don't need them.
Okay.
Well, that's the situation with the Nazi fucks. We got a bunch of nasty little bitches who want to complain because they can't handle it. On the bright side, there's people like me who tell the truth and show the truth. Now, if people want to pretend that I'm threatening to blow them up, well, it's mostly gun-toting idiots like the guys behind me. On the bright side, it is easy to pack up my stuff. It is easy to leave. When people choose to victimize me for doing the right thing, I choose to leave. That's what I choose to do. Between throwing a bomb in those guys' truck or going the other direction, I'm going to travel the other direction. What would killing an idiot do? Make them a martyr, as always.
You got the last of it, Danny.
Now, this is the problem with being victimized here in America, is that we are subject to the thoughts, feelings, and opinions of Nazis. And unfortunately, people listen to these Nazis because these Nazis have guns. Now, why is it that I continue to not promote killing people? Why is it that I don't promote becoming a Nazi idiot like these Tillamook morons? Well, because I firmly and personally believe that all these idiots have got a special place when they die. It's called in the ground. And eventually they will all end up there. Thank goodness. Now, one of the things that pissed me off the most about COVID, and I'm going to tell you about this. When it comes to COVID, there's a lot of these youngins who wanted to say, oh, well, the world would be a better place once all these old racists die off. And then, of course, they forget that their grandma and grandpa are old racists. And when we get a disease that's apparently going to kill all old people, they're like, oh, but my grandma, my grandma, my grandma. You don't care about those on the streets, but you care about the Nazis. You care about the racists. Now, for me, having to depend on these idiots, just not okay. As far as telling me I can't record, this is for my safety. And no matter where I go, my safety does need to be a priority, regardless of what racist assholes happen to be in the vicinity. Now, this is what it's really like to be a homeless man who is victimized. You get blown off. No matter what you do, it doesn't matter. You are subject to the racist BS of idiots, as always, as if you were anywhere else in the United States. But again, I am a badass.
Been working on their taxes
I'll stand up to anybody, and have been. As far as Tillamook goes, and the racism here, I didn't make these guys racist. But that's not going to stop me from standing up to them. I already knew the situation was and that's one of the issues, is that it is a safety issue. It's a severe safety issue. Now, I don't have to deal with racist old assholes. I can always leave this situation. But where am I supposed to go from here? This leaves me with one parking lot. And still, the police have done nothing about the situation. Nothing but intimidation. Nothing but lie to me about what the law actually states. Now, as far as a bunch of racist assholes go, they were talking about guns. I think I should go make a complaint, but who's going to do anything about it? No, those guys are more human than I am. See those guys over there? They're more human than I am because they're not hobos. You notice that they got 4 guys over there working together? If they want to complain about me, and all 4 of them want to pretend like I threatened to kill them and their families, well, they'll get away with it, regardless of the fact that I have it recorded. And why is that? Because they're racist rednecks from the area. Now, these guys were talking about guns, talking about shooting guns and getting guns and purchasing guns, and being gifted guns. Since they were talking about guns, does that mean that me being uncomfortable over them being little bitches is acceptable? I believe so. So, here's the thing. I am going to get a hold of McDonald's and make a complaint about Nick, because I certainly need to. I'm also going to make a complaint about the fact that I come into the McDonald's and every day I have to deal with racism out of these guys. Every single day. And it's open and blatant and public. Now, sure, they're not the racist cops that are over at the Fred Meyers. Sorry, racist retired cops that they have over at Fred Meyers. But they're still gun-toting idiots. Now, obviously, since I have it recorded, I do need to turn in the fact that these gentlemen were also talking about guns. And, of course, that's a bad thing in public. It's wrong for me, it's wrong for them.
Until he got his foot in his folks.
Well, my computer's shutting down. It's almost finished. Now, I do have at least 8 days worth of recordings where those
men back there are being racist, also talking about guns and killing people. Is there a number that I can call to turn that into?
I don't have one except for the 800 number that's on the cup.
Well, I'm definitely making a complaint about those guys, and here's the thing, is that I have to hear that every day, and it makes me feel unsafe. Now, if it's going to be something where I'm going to be punished for something that I didn't say, I really do believe that those guys should be 86 for exactly the same thing. My safety should be a concern no matter where I go.
Right.
And the safety of the customers should be a concern. Now, if there's a concern about my safety, about me possibly harming people, I'm talking about not killing people. Those guys are talking about actually killing people and talking about their guns, including getting them illegally, which, yeah, it is recorded on my YouTube channel, and that is for my safety. The thing is, it doesn't just keep me safe. It keeps everyone in the surrounding area safe. If something happens to myself or somebody in the surrounding area, I have evidence of the situation that happened instead of allowing it to be their word versus mine. Do what?
Are you sure you don't want your food?
No, ma'am, I didn't buy it because I was hungry. I bought it because I wanted to make sure that my card worked. But I don't feel comfortable here. I do feel unsafe. Sure.
Okay, let me get you your refund back. So that way I can, like I said, it's not me, Sean.
I know. And that's the thing, is that I've made a complaint as well, and I'd like it to be taken seriously.
Okay.
Especially since I'm not the one who's, well, obviously the violent gun-toting, meat-eating prick who's doing it. Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Sorry, Sean.
Oh, you don't need to be sorry. You know what? I understand being a boss. I just want to make sure that if I'm going to be punished,
Right.
I want to make sure that the people who are actually doing those things are punished as well in the same way. I mean, if they're going to be talking about doing that stuff and creating an unsafe situation for me, and then they're going to come up here and whine and play victim, I deal with that everywhere.
Right.
I'm also not threatening to kill them or blow them up or blow up their dogs or cut their heads off and feed them to their dogs. I deal with that a lot. That's one of the things since Natalie Bollinger got killed. I deal with a lot of things against my life.
Okay.
A lot of assault.
Alright. Sorry.
Oh, you?
I know I told him sorry too. I gave him for his burrito.
Well, you guys have been absolutely great. I don't want you guys thinking that any of this is your fault or that you did anything wrong. I understand. And seriously. And so does Miss Anna.
Okay.
So make sure you let her know for me.
You
Thank
want
you.
coffee to go?
No, ma'am. I've got nowhere to go, but I'm gonna figure something out.
Take care.
Too.
Take care.
You guys be safe. All right.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Obviously, the situation with Nick, we already knew that was coming. It's not a big surprise. Now, obviously, I'm not interested in blowing anybody up. I'm not interested in shooting anybody. Obviously, I'm interested in turning in these fucking crimes and not being victimized or lied to by fucking law enforcement over it. I'm interested in turning in the fucking crimes committed against me. That is all. The crimes committed against me have deprived me of the resources needed to turn them in. And of course, people's words after the fact are far different than during the situation, aren't they? During the situation, they want to talk over me and tell me they're going to help and then talk over me some more. After the situation, it's, oh, Sean, it's all your fault. It's your fault that we victimized you. It's your fault. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Now, so far, nobody has found a way to shut me up, and I'm still working on it. On the bright side, I make sure that I record it. A lot of people hate the homeless. A lot of people hate black people. And in towns like this, you're not going to get away from it.
Several like work, you didn't see them in their data because all the Washington people they don't keep it. Bottles or anything, they just throw them. Yeah. Oh yeah. Throw them in the trash. Cause they're whether you pay by the pound there or whatever.
When it comes to disabled homeless males, the cops do everything in their power to look the other way. Any excuse is a good excuse. Now, obviously, I have chosen not to blow anybody up. And I will continue to choose not to blow anybody up. But that doesn't detract from the fact that I have the education to do so. Shit. I could spend $400 on travel and $400 on toys. And I could probably make that last well enough to get at least 8 of my predators. Not in this town. Now, if I was to travel to Boulder, Colorado, it wouldn't take much to make myself look different. It'd be pretty easy to make myself look a little fatter, or maybe even a little skinnier. It'd be real easy to get down there and get a hold of somebody like Pierre, or somebody like Jonathan Hicks. It would be real easy for me to go to Chapel, Nebraska. I could probably take out, well, it's Chapel, Nebraska, and I know where a lot of these predators live. So if I went to Chapel, Nebraska, I could probably take out about 30 of them. Of course, in order to get 30 of them, then I would have to take out a lot of innocent people. I'd have to utilize what's called the double tap. Now, many of you who have had shooters training, 2 to the chest and 1 to the head. That's what you're taught. The double tap is when you shoot them twice in the chest to make sure they stop. Now, obviously, I don't have anything to shoot somebody in the chest with. Nor would I if I had something. I'm not interested in killing. Now then, we got those Karens in there. These are tough old farmers with guns. Actually, they're cowards, but whatever. You don't like my antics. You don't like the things that I do, or the fact that I'm forced to do them in public. Well, being forced to do it in public is not a decision. Those who want to tell me to go to the library to do this, oh, that'll go over well. Talking about rape and murder in the library. You don't use your heads. You've got no common sense whatsoever. Now, Yahaira, she was very nice to me. And I don't mind going through the drive-thru. Matter of fact, Anna is probably about the only thing, her positivity, her smile, is about the only thing that I had going for me for about 3 weeks. Well, shit, at least Anna's here. Of course, I didn't know her name at that point in time. I just knew she was the nice one. Yahira, she's the one that I was telling you about when I first started coming here. The one who's super nice with the accent. And then there is... Hold on a second. There's one other lady who's real important here. Emily. Yes, Emily. Super nice. I try explaining to people about the situation that I'm in and the desperation. I save most of the angry stuff for when I'm in my car. But you guys don't hear anything except the angry stuff. If I explain it nicely, you don't hear it. If I scream at the top of my lungs the exact same thing, you complain that I screamed. Well, you didn't hear me the first time. Obviously, you didn't hear me the first time. Now, what do I have to say positive for Tillamook, Oregon? Nothing. There is nothing fucking good about this place. Are you shitting me? As long as I've been here... Yeah. You can't try to get help. You can't do this stuff in public. When it comes to them racist old guys every morning, yeah, I have to fucking listen to that shit every morning. If I want to come here and get something done. Now, are they going to kick those guys out, or am I being treated differently? As far as the recording it, I shouldn't have to record it. But the fact is, I do have to record it. I do have to worry about the police lying. Absolutely, we all do. We also have to worry about the fact that, well, public pretenders aren't going to do their jobs. That's what the term mentally ill does. It gives everybody a free excuse to do jack shit. Now let's try to find something I can plug into, because we don't want this thing to die. I've got 6 whole viewers right now. Woohoo! There's a lot of people, they say they understand panic attacks, except they're allowed to have panic attacks and I'm not. They're allowed to freak out over jack shit, but I'm not allowed to have any reaction to actual abuse or neglect. Being sent to all these different agencies to do jack shit. If you're homeless, they prevent you from having access to resources. You guys want to call many of these resources, but they're not. They don't do anything about the abuse, and neither do the police. The fact that we are forced to go to these places to get help is pathetic, because they don't. They say it's not their job, not their job, not their job. If it's not their job, they need to tell the fucking cops that it's not their job, and the cops need to do their fucking job instead of sending people to people whose job it is not. All right, we got everything we need. You guys want to pretend that I'm a bad person because I have panic attacks, or because I have no help turning in these predators. No help, just words. The United States is pathetic, but nothing is more pathetic than the Tillamook Police Department. Sorry, police departments nationwide. Oh wait, there is a lot more pathetic than that, such as the citizens of this country. Now, do I get to hate Yahira for the situation today? No. Everybody there knew that Nick didn't like me. We've known that since day one. It's not difficult putting 2 and 2 together. Anyway, I'm going to relocate. Being forced into homelessness like this is a horrible thing. Because you were treated subpar. People don't actually help you. They promise that they will and tell you how sorry they are. In reality, they're pathetic. Big difference. I'm not going to go pretending that Miss Amber is a horrible person. I'm not going to pretend that Miss Yahira is a horrible person. There are people who did horrible things. Be safe, Joey! Anyway, I relocated to off of the McDonald's property. I got my stuff all packed up. Oh yeah, and screw this country. Adios.